just hold on for one more minute, and then we'll move into the webinar. Okay, I think that's probably long enough to give everybody time to have joined. Obviously, we are recording this session, and we will forward on all of the notes, the transcript, and the recording of this session. Firstly, a good day all, and thank you for taking the time to join our NCFE Lifelong Learning webinar. Before we delve into the detail of NCFE's Lifelong Learning offer, I just wanted to provide an overview of the session, some housekeeping, as well as some context of the environment that we are all currently operating within. I think I don't like to say this, but as we tentatively start to return to some level of normality, we see the labour market slowly starting to recover. Unemployment rates are falling slightly. However, we know that the employment landscape in the UK is rapidly changing. The CBI published data last year saying that 90% of workers will need new skills by 2030, and spending on adult education would need to be increased by 130 billion by 2030 to narrow the skills gap. I think introducing policies, putting money into schemes is one thing, but making them accessible, inclusive, and realistic for people is quite another. And over the past 2 years, the inequalities within our society have become starker, with the pandemic proven to have disproportionately affected deprived communities. And this brings us into the reason for today's webinar. And before I pass over to my learned colleague, Andrew, I really wanted to ask that you please leave any questions, any comments, or any suggestions in our chat feature to ensure that our product offering is aligned as best as possible with your employability requirements to enable us to create a more productive, fulfilled, and fair society. Thank you, and Andrew, I will pass over to you.
Right, thank you, Jack. And just enter, so good afternoon, everybody. Just as the brief introduction, so I'm Andy Barton. I'm the Senior Operations Manager at NCFE, looking after our adult offer. And when we talk about the adult offer, it's basically anybody 18 plus who is not on an apprenticeship. Normally falls on with those funding streams, and we'll go into some of those funding streams later on. And I think just to reiterate what Jack has just gone over, I think it's really challenging at the minute, especially across the adult education sector and the education sector as a whole. Many reasons for that. We've got obviously the 2 years of the pandemic, we've got Brexit, skills gaps, introduction of decarbonisation, the green agenda, digitalisation. So there's many things changing across the sector, as well as funding changes, which we will cover a little bit later on. So today's session is just really to give a bit of an update on what NCFE's offer are, some of our thinking behind that offer, and really to start engaging with more people to say, actually, what are the gaps and the needs within the sector that we can ensure that there is provision there for learners, whatever their age, moving out of, say, education from 16 to 19, different learners across different sectors. So really just trying to hone in on what that is and start that engagement piece with what are the gaps and what gaps have we got in our provision, but what have we got that can fill those gaps. So we've got some slides, and I'm sure we'll be able to share these slides as part of the transcript and the recording anyway, so you will see these. So the first thing, just move on. First thing we want to look at, and so when we talk about the adult offer at NCFE, it is quite a diverse sector, as you say. But for us, we really want to hone in on that social economic sort of impact that it has with adult learners. So if we get the social and the economic impact right, and make sure that our products have a clear outcome for these learners and align to the needs of the sectors for different regions, different sectors, and different employers at a base level, we will be meeting the needs of those learners as well. So they say we want to make sure that our offer enables people to fulfill their own potential. And that's within everyday life, that's within work, but actually, as you say, the social and economic side of that as well, not just their work, but that wider sort of need that they have within their potential. And that is ranging from entry level right the way up to level 5, and looking at that progression. So we talk about employability as one provision, but actually it's capturing that and saying not everybody, not all our adult learners are going to be coming in on an employability program. They may have already been in work. What can we do to aid them in their progression right the way through their careers, and as you said, their lifelong learning. Learning shouldn't stop when they get a job. That there is different products that we have and opportunities within there that adults can enhance their skills in line with sector changes, technology changes, and the changing landscape that we are always living in. So how do we go about doing that? So I do apologise. I thought my camera was on there, and it is now. I apologise for that. So how do we do that at NCFE? So there's various different ways, and we talk about regulated qualifications, which are, you say, when you talk about rewarding organisation or training as in general, get regulated qualifications as the mainstay within that. But I think it's important to understand that regulated qualifications aren't the only option there. As I said, some people might not need a full qualification. They may just need some standalone units or a module that they can use to enhance their skills they've already got, and whether that's on a personal or professional need that they've got in there. So we do offer both regulated qualifications, standalone units within that can be used outside those qualifications, but actually there's some flexible options in there as well. So we have accredited programs which are being developed bespoke for specific employers, specific providers, to meet and being tailored to needs in their areas. And within certain funding streams, they are available with regards to funding. So there are options in there. So we're not just talking about funded qualifications here. We are looking at the solution and what that solution is. And so whether that is a full qualification, standalone unit, a bespoke offering, or could just be support within a service or some sort of service that we can offer to enhance the provision of a training provider, an employer, but ultimately meet the needs to ensure that learner or that individual gets the right skills and knowledge that they need to enhance their careers. One thing we have been getting feedback, and we've been talking to a lot of employers through different initiatives and the skills agenda with regards to the local skills improvement plans, etc. And essential skills is a big one that's come up. A lot of employers are saying, look, we can teach you technical skills. We know we can get them once we get somebody in place. But it's those softer skills, whether we call them essential skills, transferable skills, they are really keen to get people with those skills to make sure that they are ready for work. So that's really been prevalent within all the local skills improvement plans and skills plans across all the regions. So it's another thing that we are really engaging with and saying, what are those cross-cutting, essential, transferable skills that will enhance somebody's opportunity to progress in a career, enter work, a different sector, or basically just enter the world of work. You say, we've always said there that the qualifications we offer qualifications that sit across a range of different funding streams as well. Now we'll cover the various funding streams a little bit as we go through, but obviously there is different requirements for those funding streams and what types of qualifications sit within them. So when we talk about the what was in there, and I've already talked a little bit about the funded qualifications, and you say we have a raft of funded qualifications that sit within funding streams for adults, whether that's adult learner loans, whether that's the AEB, both nationally and the devolved regional AEB. The funding streams are changing. There are many funding streams out there for adults, so it can be a bit of a minefield. But we offer qualifications that sit with those within a range of different funding streams, not just one or two. Talk about the employability qualifications as well, and I think when we talk about employability, it had a bit of a sort of a bad press, if you like, and it was like, we do an employability program. It's about CV writing, interview skills, but actually, it's more than that. When you look at it, it's about those, as I've already mentioned, the transferable skills, the essential skills. It's actually the employability qualification should be there to empower people to enhance those skills, to build their confidence in their journey within work, but actually throughout their work career as well. I mean, some of the skills that we have got feedback from employers about is like problem solving, communication, are key skills that, regardless of where you are in your work life, they are key skills that you need to enhance and carry out your duties. So when we talk about the employability skills, it's not just about the CV writing, they say the interview skills. It's about those skills that make you employable, not just about what you need to do to get a job with regards to the process. It's the skills you need to actually get into the workplace. So I think even though they have employability programs have had a bit of bad press, I think it's key to understand that when we talk about them, it's not just about those base level skills and modules that come to mind straight away. It's making sure that that program gives the right relevant skills and knowledge that individual needs to be employable, not just to get a job. We have developed a range of qualifications, working in consultation with employers, and that's directly to try and address and fill skills gaps. And one of the things we obviously looking in that is that when we talk about the bespoke and the unitized offer as well as the full qualification. Qualifications aren't developed overnight, and it does take a while to develop a qualification to meet the needs of the regulatory requirements to get it on regulated qualification. But actually, there's other products that we can develop and work with people to meet the skills gaps when they're there. If a skills gap is identified, we will work with the individual stakeholders and the wider sectors to develop a product and a solution that fills those skills gaps, whatever that solution is, that is best for the sector at that time. Already touched on the cross-cutting essential skills there. So these are the skills which, regardless of the career path you're on or the part of the journey you're on within your career, these essential skills are cross-cutting. You say your problem solving, your communication, those type of skills that everybody needs, regardless of what sector they're in. The context might be slightly different, but the underlying skills will be the same. So again, looking at products that can underpin the technical qualifications that we offer across sectors as well, but not just in sectors we work in, but on the wider sector. So if somebody is in a sector, so for example, somebody's in engineering and manufacturing, and we don't necessarily have a technical qualification, we have the products that will enhance their program and empower those learners to advance in their careers. Also, we have a skills work initial assessment tool, which Jack's going to give a little bit of more information on that, and that's around how do we. One of the problems we found in the feedback we've been getting from learners, training providers, colleges, and employers is actually the individuals that they are getting into, whether it's to start a program of learning or to get a job, they don't always understand what essential skills they've got, and a lot of people already have. They've built them through their life, whether that's personally or professionally. So just a tool there to try and get people to understand what skills they've got and then what gaps they've got, so we can help them address those gaps to say progress within their career. We talk about professional development qualifications, and the next slide will show that a little bit better, but those are the qualifications that we're saying, right? When you're in work or you're really going into a specific sector, these are the qualifications that go into the technical detail of that sector and give you the skills and knowledge you need to enter, progress, or to develop within those sectors. Normally, we're looking at qualifications from level 2 to level 5 within that product. And then all the qualifications we offer qualifications across a range of levels and sizes, and say that's from entry level right the way up to level 5, and there's options of award, certificate, and diploma where they are relevant. So there should be a level and size of qualification that fits everybody's needs and availability for learning. So this just shows a little bit about that offer. So when we talk about the pre-employment, employability type qualifications, and a lot of the cross-cutting themes that's in there, we will talk about the entry level up to level 2. Level 2 has got a crossover, so that we have got some employability, occupational study type qualifications up to level 2, including level 2. But then the professional development qualifications will start at level 2 as well. So there is a slight crossover at level 2, but we have a range of products, you say, from entry level to level 5. And one of the key things within that is actually we can start building a progression route for a learner. It's not just about, yeah, he has an employability qualification. It's about building a journey of learning that helps them understand their journey within a career, whether that they stay in the same sector or stay in the same career path, but actually what that progression route is, and develop that with the learner as they go through their lifelong learning journey. So when we talk about the who, and I'll touch there, when we talk about adults in this sector, we are focusing on individuals who are 18 plus. Obviously, those who aren't in apprenticeship is another option for adults. But when we talk about the adult provision in NCFE, it doesn't include the apprenticeship. Adults on apprenticeships, they fit in another work stream within NCFE. So we do have an offering under that. But today, when we talk about adults, we're talking about those who aren't in apprenticeships. Nothing to say that a learner or an adult can't start one learning journey within the employability and have that progression and then move into apprenticeships. Just today, we're looking at adults who don't fall under that category. But we have got a good apprenticeship offer at NCFE. Then we look at the unemployed, which you say, especially during the pandemic, there's a lot of people have regretfully lost their job, and sectors have had a downturn because of the impact of the pandemic. So when we're talking about individuals who are currently unemployed, who want to upskill or gain employment within any sector that they feel they want to, but again, it's letting them building their confidence and giving them the tools to actually make that step where the confidence may have been knocked through the journey they've had so far. Also looking at a big piece of work with regards to ex-offenders and whether that there's two sides of this. So the upskilling of people that are ready to leave the the justice system who are currently maybe in prison or in a detention centre, but also those who come out. And again, talking to a lot of employers, there's a lot of schemes out there where there's some really skilled people there, and they've got some real good skills and knowledge that will help address the skills gap across the country. So it's working with them and helping them transition and making sure that they can highlight their skills and hopefully in the end point in this is so that they don't become reoffenders, actually using the skills and knowledge they've got to make an impact for their lives, but actually also to the region and the sector that they want to move into. Military service leavers is another one. So anybody who's transitioning out of the military, there is many different programs in place to support people coming from the military. But again, they have a lot of skills and knowledge that they've gained within the military, within a very structured environment, that can't be transferred into Civvy Street, for want of a better phrase. But it's helping them transition into that and helping them understand what those differences are and where they can actually add value. There's a lot of talk on at the minute around those individuals who are economically inactive. So those who are not employed, not seeking employment. So that could be students who have finished their uni programs or have just finished FA college. There's obviously early retirees, or those long-term sick. So it's actually how can we work with those and help those again, address the skills gaps and the needs within specific sectors and regions, but also give them the confidence to say, this is what you can do, and this is the progression, and this is the track that you can take within your career. Then we've got the underemployed. So those are people who are employed, but actually are in jobs that they could do so much more, and they could develop within that company, outside the company, within that sector. So again, giving those people the skills and the confidence to make that move. So not always about recruiting somebody else into a business. It's actually utilizing the staff that's in there. Has a massive impact, obviously, recruitment costs as well. If you can make sure your staff are fully employed within their job role, it's a big bonus. And then you say, we've already touched individuals looking to progress within their careers. So it's when we talk about the employability skills and the programs that we offer, we're not just talking about people coming into the sector. There is a whole sort of map across that where people can progress within their careers, whether that's moving within a business from even a sideways, so they might move from one role to another role at the same level, or they might want to progress through their leadership channels. And then those individuals looking to reskill, who maybe have been in one sector for a period of time and think, no, I'm ready for a change. Understanding what their skills they've got that can transfer over, but actually what other skills can they get which will help them get a move over to those sectors. So I said that within the adult sector, there's a range of different learners out there who have different needs and there's different solutions for. So I said, we're going to go through the funding initiatives a little bit. Not going to go through them in massive detail. It's just to give it an overview with regards to what sort of initiatives and funding streams that NCFE are looking at, where we've got products that we've developed with the relevant stakeholders to fit under these funding streams. So the first one that comes to mind when you talk about adult education is the adult education budget. And again, this is a bit of a change in landscape. So there is two sides of the adult education budget. You've got the national adult education budget, and then you've got the devolved. So we'll talk about the national one to start with. So when you talk about the adult education budget, this is basically for funds for delivering education and training for learners 19 plus. And again, in the devolved, not in the devolved regions, because they have their own rules and their different funding pots within there. And I think it's maximising the opportunities within the AB funding, and those who say when the contracts to deliver adult education funding is making sure that you're maximising that and making sure that you the provision that say we can assist with at NCFE of products that sit within the adult education budget. As I said, the adult education budget is changing, and it already started with regards to the devolution of AB funding, which started back in 2019. So to start with, there was 6 mayoral combined authorities won the chance to have devolved AB funding in their areas. That has now gone up to 10, and they are looking at now the devolution of the AB funding is growing pace, and the last comments we heard from the NCFE was that by the end of 2023 they were hoping for 80% of the adult education budget to be devolved, and then by 2024 2025 100% of the adult education funding to be devolved. That does align with when you start looking at some of the other funding stream changes. The stopping of the ASF funding, the European Social Fund funding pot, is going to be stopping in 2023, and obviously the start of the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, which is fully devolved. So we can see the way things is changing, which for me is a positive thing, because that means the funding can be used for the skills that's needed in specific regions and not just looking at funding from a national point of view. Then we talk about advanced learner loans, and again, this has had mixed reviews when you talk about advanced learner loans, because a lot of adults don't want to take on that extra debt, and you talk about the younger learners, if you like. I talk about they have their student finance, they'll go to university, they'll get those loans, and they expect that with the route they've taken. Adults don't necessarily think, well, I don't want to take a loan on now to upskill to do what I want to do, but it is an option there for them within that. So I think it is an option that's there. Hopefully that the qualifications they get funded will fall into the AB and other funding streams, but there is always an option of advanced learner loans for learners within there as well. And the big one at the minute, and it's getting a lot of pressure, is the National Skills Fund. There's two streams within the National Skills Fund. So you have your free level 3 qualifications for adults and your skills boot camps. The first part is there about your free level 3 qualification for adults. So basically any adult age 19 and over who does not already have a level 3 qualification or equivalent to an advanced technical certificate diploma A levels, they can get a fully funded level 3 course for any course that's on the list of qualifications that's been approved. And it is a good initiative because it gives people the opportunity to enhance their learning. So they might have only done programs of learning up to level 2, but actually really gives them the chance to upskill to a level 3, to give them the technical skills and the sector skills they need. NCFE currently have 36 listed qualifications on there at the moment. We are waiting, and hopefully by the end of this month, which should have been last week, the list should have been updated, but we have another 12 qualifications that we're looking to add to that, ranging across digital, early years, childcare, other sectors. We're adding qualifications on all the time. So as we develop the qualifications, we look to get them on there. So you can access that straight away online with regards. I think we've got the information on our website, but you can also go directly to the gov.gov website to get the full list of the qualifications on there. Some of the sectors we're working in, obviously health and social care. We've got our biggest part of our qualifications on there, childcare and early years. We also have qualifications in digital, and we're looking to add more on there. We're just waiting for the information on to say which ones have been successful. A good range on public services, and then we have some on medicine and dentistry, business management, and mathematics and statistics. So there is a range of qualifications on there. And I've got to admit, we have seen a big upturn in the qualifications that are on this list for registrations of learners on there. So we're seeing they are value, the qualifications that are on there, and they are really being popular within this funding stream. And then we talk about the skills boot camps, and again, another thing that's in the press and that they keep promoting. And it's giving people the opportunity to build those sector-specific skills and fast track to an interview, but getting that program right. And you say they are 16 weeks programs. It's getting the relevant content in there to make sure that they are valuable and they add the value to the individuals who are part of it. So boot camps that are available in construction, digital, engineering, manufacturing, green skills, and rail. And saying we'll happily work alongside individual centres, employers, stakeholders to say what we have that can fit within there to meet their needs and meet the needs of the employers that they're working with within there to ensure that the right skills and knowledge are being gained by the individuals going through them and make them of value. Mentioned briefly about the European Social Fund, which is part of the European Structural Investment Fund. Obviously, as part of Brexit, that's had an impact on that. So the ASF fund will be stopping in March 2023, and will be getting replaced by the UK Shared Prosperity Fund from April 2023. The rollout of UK Shared Prosperity Fund will be a little different, so we'll go more into that in a minute, but it's just making sure that if you are using ASF funding, that there are changes coming in. It's being prepared for those changes to make sure that learners still have a funding route that's available, even though they stop with the ASF. Sector-based work academies is another thing that came through with regards, especially as a result of the white paper. And again, we'll happily work with stakeholders to say what we've got in there. So again, the swabs can last up to 6 weeks and have 3 parts in there. So have your pre-employment training, which is short module vocational training run by a local college or training provider. But again, it's making sure that the right modules are in there and the right skills. There will be some work experience with an employer in an industry, so they can get some on-the-job skills training. And then that leads into an interview or an employment. Hopefully, or the application will be held on within the process. Local flexibilities is one that it goes under the radar a little bit within this, but local flexibilities, it's a tailored provision for adults, and it kind of regulated qualifications and their components. So when we talk about components, we talk about the units and or non-regulated learning within there from entry level to level 2. So especially when you're talking about somebody moving into a sector or wanting to get employment, the local flexibilities is a good way to do it and build a program that fits the needs of the individuals. Traineeships, and we hear traineeships a lot, but it's not forgetting that there's traineeship options there for 19 to 24-year-olds, which will fall under the adult sort of provision. So traineeships isn't just about those learners who have finished school, finished college, or finished their program of learning and then want to get into work. There is options within the traineeships with regards to work experience and for the adults. And again, we will work closely with stakeholders to meet the requirements of those. And again, traineeships can last from 6 weeks up to 1 year, and they have to have work preparation training, work experience placement, maths, English and digital development, and vocational training qualifications. And we say we have a range of qualifications that can be used to enhance and build those programs, and we'll work with stakeholders to develop those. And then the last thing is just to give a little bit about the UK Shared Prosperity Fund. And we're watching this very closely at NCFE to make sure that we have a provision that can be used in there, and we have the best provision available to support our stakeholders and customers. So again, it's a initiative that's coming to replace the ASF after the effects of Brexit. And so in England, it will be managed by the local authorities, so the mayoral combined authorities and the Greater London Authority. Where there is no mayoral combined authorities, there will be this county deals, that there's the local enterprise partnerships, but it will be at a regional level when we're talking about this. So this will then fully align to the skills plans within different regions, and it is a central pillar of the UK government's ambitious levelling up agenda. So it's something that they're really pushing, and we're going to be watching it closely as the detail comes out on this. And they're hoping it's going to dramatically reduce the levels of bureaucracy that's associated with the ASF funds that was there, and the hoops and the barriers that were in place that people had to jump through and get over. So it does say a key shift in that, and the main one is around the regional. So it gives the flexibility for each mayoral combined authority to tackle the skills, needs and gaps within their areas. And what it's going to cover, so they want to try and boost the core skills and support adults to progress into work. And you say, targeting those adults with no or lower level qualifications and skills in maths. And when you look at the rollout, that the maths and English and the lower level skills are the ones that are going to be the first things that's targeted within there. Supporting the disadvantaged people across the skills need to progress within their work, but also to support the local areas and fund the local skills that's needed to make sure that those skills gaps and those individual regions can develop and progress and build on what they've already got in place, and say hopefully reduce the levels of economic inactivity in there. The fund won't just be about skills training, so they will be looking at the infrastructure within each region as well to build those jobs, that then build the skills that go within that. So the initial focus of the UK Shared Prosperity Fund will be in the 2022-23. There's a lot of talk, and then there's some initial work going on, but from then in 23-24. So in April 2023, there is the launch will be around the Multiply, which is the adult numeracy program. That will be the first part of the fund, that when we talk about the skills sort of initiative within that, with the rollout of the full skills pot in 2024. He said that's not saying there's going to be no adult funding during that time, because obviously you have other adult funding streams, and there are some flexibilities under that with regards to the voluntary and community organisations that you can use that fund for skills. But he said this is a watching brief. We are watching this closely, just to make sure that we have our provision ready to offer under that funding scheme. And that is it from me. I hope you've found that useful. I say it was a whistle-stop tour across a lot of the topics covered, but hopefully it's been of use. Jack?
Oh, thank you for that, Andy. That was really informative to me as well, to be fair. So thank you. I won't go into too much detail around skills work, which we did pick up about, but because it's probably a more in-depth separate conversation. But it's skills work is about supporting you understanding your learners' meta skills, life skills, and being able to track those skills that are often so difficult to track objectively, that a learner or a customer is developing in, such as communication, collaboration, motivation. So it's a tool that we can bolt on to a number of our funded qualifications to ensure that we are also supporting the development of an individual's meta and life skills. I think all that's left from me is to thank you once again for joining and for listening, and for the questions that you put up in the chat. As we opened with, what we will do is we'll send all of these details out, the presentation, the transcripts, and the recording out to everybody that's joined us today. And all that's left from me is to thank you once again, and have a great day, and hopefully speak to you all soon. Thank you.